Kaiana's brothers Namake and Nahi are two tragic yet often overlooked figures from Hawaiian history, who played significant roles in the devastating Hawaiian civil wars and also in enhancing the legacy of their brother Kaiana. But how exactly did these powerful warriors meet their brutal ends? With contemporary Hawaiian and European sources providing some vivid detail and insight into the dramatic, brutal and bloody circumstances surrounding the final moments of Nahi and Namake. But before we begin, don't forget, if you want to find out more about the deaths of some of history's greatest figures, then subscribe to my channel, Historical Exit. As was previously mentioned, Kaiana's brothers Namake and Nahi were among the most prominent and experienced military commanders in late 18th century Hawaii, and they would be at the height of their political influence during the tumultuous period of inter-island warfare during the 18th century, when traditional Hawaiian society was being transformed by the introduction of European weapons and military tactics. With their intimate knowledge of both traditional Polynesian warfare and the devastating potential of Western firearms acquired by their brother Kaiana and Hawaiian King Kamehameha, Namake and Nahi had both become formidable military strategists who could successfully blend ancient Hawaiian combat techniques with modern military innovations as well. However though, by early 1795, the strategic positions and respect of the brothers in Kamehameha's inner war circle would begin to deteriorate as they found themselves caught between competing loyalties to their brother Kaiana and their king Kamehameha, who were now unable to work cohesively together, and they greatly distrusted one another. And in the end, when Kaiana would choose to abandon and betray Kamehameha, his brother Nahi specifically would join the forces of Kalaniʻupuʻalei alongside Kaiana, who was the last major obstacle preventing Kamehameha from unifying all of the Polynesian islands under one ruler. This fateful decision would lead to the forces of Kamehameha numbering around 16,000 warriors, facing off against Kalaniʻupuʻalei's much smaller force at the Battle of Nuʻuanu. And during the early hours of the Battle of Nuʻuanu, once the engagement commenced, Nahi would realize alongside his brother Kaiana that Kamehameha's forces were far more formidable than the defenders could have possibly anticipated. With Western trained artillery directed by John Young and Isaac Davis repeatedly bombarding the Oahu positions, while musket-armed warriors advanced in devastatingly coordinated formations. And Nahi would position himself amongst the front ranks of Kalaniʻupuʻalei's army, fighting directly alongside his brother, and multiple Hawaiian sources record that both brothers fought with extraordinary courage as the battle raged with unprecedented violence, employing European weapons alongside traditional spears and clubs in desperate attempts to hold their defensive positions. But Kamehameha had prepared a devastating strategy utilizing superior numbers, concentrated firepower, and tactical innovations specifically designed to overwhelm the defending army. And when the warriors under Nahi's command attempted to hold their ground against the massive invasion force, they found themselves facing off against mathematically impossible odds. But Nahi and his loyal warriors fought with unmatched determination, sustaining their defensive efforts as best as they could, with casualties quickly mounting up around them. And during the climactic moments of the battle, it is recorded that both Kaiana and Nahi were killed in the engagement when the Oahu forces were systematically overwhelmed by Kamehameha's superior firepower. But the specific circumstances and manner of Nahi's death remains a mystery even to this day. But our arguably most reliable and contemporary account of Nahi's death comes to us from Captain William Broughton, who visited the Hawaiian Islands in early 1796, so just months after the Battle of Nuʻuanu. And this British naval source provides crucial statistical details that make devastatingly clear the extraordinary scale of the engagement, recording that 300 of Kaiana's personal warriors died alongside their chief and his brother Nahi, and that Kamehameha's forces suffered approximately 6,000 casualties out of his 16,000 man army. This discourse of Nahi dying early in the battle is also supported by Hawaiian sources, with Hawaiian historian Stephen Deisha stating in his historical text Kamehameha and his warriors that Nahi fought alongside Iana and demonstrated exceptional skill with both traditional weapons and the newly introduced European firearms. This Hawaiian account emphasizes that both brothers were killed early in the battle near the location that would later become known as Queen Emma's Summer Palace. Desha also suggests that Nahi and Iana died during the initial phases of the engagement rather than during the famous cliff jumping finale that gave the battle its famous "the leaping mullet" epithet. So although it is undebatable that Nahi and Iana both died at the Battle of Nuʻuanu, the same fate was not written for the final brother Namake, who survived the decisive battle because he had courageously refused Kamehameha's summons to join the 1795 campaign against Oahu, and he did not participate in the Battle of Nuʻuanu at all. Hawaiian historian Samuel Kamakau records that Namake declined to participate in the Oahu invasion because he was too ashamed to fight against Kalanukupale, suggesting complex personal and political motivations that European sources failed to comprehend. An alternative account by Captain Charles Bishop indicates that Namake was appointed co-regent of Hawaii Island alongside British military advisor Isaac Davis, while Kamehameha was concluding his military campaigns against Oahu, demonstrating his continued political importance despite his refusal to participate in the invasion. However, though it appears that after witnessing the devastating deaths of both his brothers at the Battle of Nuʻuanu, Namake launched his own desperate rebellion against Kamehameha from his traditional stronghold in Kauai, Hawaii, beginning what would become the final organized resistance to Kamehameha's unification efforts. This short-lived opposition lasted from September 1796 to January 1797, and it represented the last major challenge to Kamehameha's consolidation of power over the Hawaiian Islands. Unfortunately for this final brother though, the rebellion would end catastrophically when Kamehameha returned from Oahu with the bulk of his battle-hardened army to systematically suppress the uprising, with the final decisive engagement occurring at the Hawaiian city of Hilo, where Namake's rebel forces were easily defeated by the better equipped and manned forces of Kamehameha. However, Kamake would flee from the battlefield and avoid getting killed in the ensuing chaos, but Namake would soon thereafter be pursued by the skilled trackers and warriors of Kamehameha, and they would eventually capture him and return him as a prisoner to the Hawaiian king. And I'm sure at this point Namake would have preferred to have perished in battle than deal with what punishment Kamehameha had in store for him, as Kamehameha decided that his final opponent against Hawaiian unification would meet his end being utilized as a human sacrifice to the Hawaiian war god Kukalimuku. And although no exact details are recorded on the manner of how this execution and ritual sacrifice took place, but I'm fairly certain still that it would have been a prolonged, torturous and brutal death for Namake. So there you have it, an in-depth analysis on the deaths of Kaiana's two powerful warrior brothers Nahi and Namake, who remained defiant and brave till their final breaths and played a huge role in the shaping of Hawaiian history, and thanks to shows like Chief of War, their legacy and stories continue to live on even to this day. So let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do like and share with others. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, Historical Exit, so you can find out more about the deaths of some of history's greatest figures. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.